Hey, this is Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. Welcome back to the video podcast, I guess you call it that. Today we're going to talk about how to get yourself out of a toxic relationship. I'm going to give you 4 steps you can use. Hey, before we get going too far too fast, make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe, but also make sure to turn on notifications. It's the only way to know when I put out a new video. Do that right now. And make sure you stick around to the very end of the video because step number 4 is the most important part of this process. Now, in a previous article and video, I talked about all the signs of a healthy relationship, the kind of relationship you actually want. And I also gave you some signals to look out for that you're in a bad romance. Real quick, I want to run through the toxic relationship signs for you. Sign number 1 is criticism. When your partner or you is more critical, more into pointing out flaws or what they see as bad, well, things aren't looking too good. Sign number 2 is contempt. When your partner or you is constantly triggered by things that the other person says or does, they react with an almost violent roll of the eyes, well, you got a relationship that's in very serious jeopardy. Toxic relationship signal number 3 is avoidance, and that's if you or your partner start avoiding each other more than feeling compelled to be together. That's a toxic relationship situation. Simply put, you're either not feeling attraction anymore or, well, let's just say things have really gone off the deep end. And toxic relationship sign number 4, the dark cloud. If you have this constant dark cloud of negative energy in your relationship, if your goodwill is down to 0 and you almost don't even care if your partner cheats on you, well, then you know the sound in the distance is that bell of doom for you. All right, get out of a toxic relationship. Step number 1, make the list. Something I see every day in my coaching and my therapy practice is that people have a kind of addiction to talking and thinking about their situation, but they almost never want to list these problems. They never want to put it on paper, whatever their reasons are for maybe leaving a relationship. You see, one of the crazy things about people is that we often feel better about doing nothing. It seems easier to not make a decision to break up, but the truth is, if you choose not to decide, you still made a choice. You're choosing to stay even if you're not willing to admit it to yourself. One of the best things you can do to get your life on track and get yourself out of a bad or toxic relationship is to have the guts to take inventory of your relationship and where you are right now. So get out a piece of paper, make sure you write down and list all the reasons why this isn't the relationship for you. And we're going to come back to that in a minute. All right, break out of a toxic relationship. Step number 2 is to cut them off. Yeah, it's time to do the dirty. That's right. You got to do what you probably tried to do in the past. You have to break it off with them. And you can't do what you also probably did before, which was leave a little wiggle room, right? A secret door that they could get back into the relationship again with. Let's be perfectly honest here. A lot of the times that people break up, they're just trying to inject some tension into the relationship, right? They secretly know that they're going to get back together the second the chance comes up. But they go through the motions of ending it, hoping that this might teach their partner a lesson, or at least inject some new passion when they give in to a booty call. I don't know. If you're in a toxic relationship, you have to be more clear about making it a real ending. Make sure you cut off contact with them. This might even mean blocking them on your phone. You got to stay away from places that they would normally go. If you go to places where they normally go, you're basically rolling the dice on running into them again. And yes, you know when you're doing that on purpose, don't you? You little stalker. And keep walking. If you do encounter your ex either in the halls, at work, or on the street, you got to keep moving, okay? This is your rule. Yes, you can say hi, but you do not stop. All right, get yourself out of a toxic relationship. Step number 3 is to remember your billing. All right, it's time to get that pen and paper back out. Only now what you're going to do is make another list of all the best stuff about you. Just imagine that you're writing up a relationship resume for the awesome, smart, funny guy that you're about to meet. What would you put on it? What are your assets? What are your best qualities as a person? You have to know your own value. You have to know what it is you bring to a relationship. An easy way of completing this one is just to think about what you'd say to a relative or a good friend that was trying to leave their partner. What would you say to them? And would it be any different if they were saving it up to tell you? Just keep this list of your good traits around to review when you inevitably feel a little bit low. If you hit a low mood, you'll have a way to climb yourself back out of that pit of despair and low self-esteem. And escape a toxic relationship. Step number 4, have a lifeboat. At some point, you're going to probably need some help to make this transition out of your toxic relationship and back into being single again. Yes, I know how daunting that may seem. You might need to call a friend or talk to your therapist or bend your mom's ear. Just recognize up front that this is okay. Sometimes you need a friend to help calm you and ground you. We all do from time to time. Think about it. There's no organization out there that helps people deal with broken relationships and their breakups. I mean, for the most part, you're on your own. But there's another kind of help you can get that doesn't involve anybody else. Let's say you're a really private person. You just want to really manage and handle this yourself, not drag everybody you know into it. Sometimes you don't want to let the other people in on your process of healing. Hey, it can be embarrassing to admit that you might be a little stuck. So what can you do to avoid having to break your own privacy? Well, get a plan. Look, you need a roadmap to navigate the tricky twists and turns of a relationship. It's not as easy as it once was. You need to know what it is that men want today, how to keep him from pulling away, how to get a man to commit to you. You need to know how to avoid toxic and really unhealthy relationships, and how to get a man to fall in love with you, and much, much more. Now, I do have a roadmap for you, and these are the advanced tips and advice that will help you make your relationship succeed even in spite of your flaws and your shortcomings. If you want to discover how to make your relationship foolproof so you never have to worry about another toxic or failed relationship, why don't you go watch this video. Go on over to datingadviceguru.com/connection. Just open up another tab in your browser and do it. Hey, YouTube will be here waiting for you when you get back. It's the most important thing that you can do, and probably the most important thing you're going to watch this year, or maybe ever. And of course, you got to do the big three. Number one, make sure you like this video, and number two, subscribe so you can keep getting it. But also, step number three is the most important. Turn on your notifications so you can make sure to know when a new one comes out. All right? Hey, this is Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. As always, live and love with passion.